Everyone, I am Jade and today we are going to be doing something new. Now I'm in a flat world with a heap of redstone items with me, and that is because today we're going to give redstone a go. Now personally I know a very rudimentary amount of redstone. I can probably make something turn on and off, but I was pretty inspired to do this and I'm pretty excited to get started on this actually. So today we're building an alarm system. This was, hold on, let me see in here. This was completely inspired by PearlescentMoon, a content creator that I really enjoy watching, and someone that I have just a really fun time viewing their videos, watching live streams, and so forth. If you want, I will be there pretty much every stream. So, in one of her streams recently, she mentioned having a alarm system go off when someone uses the furnace. And I thought this was a fun idea, and I started brainstorming ideas on the spot. Now, I typically don't really consider redstone, but I have learnt what a few things do. For example, a repeater. A repeater is used to transmit a signal past a block. I think it has some other purposes, but I'm not quite sure what they are. So, I've got some basic ideas, and this is mainly just a learning journey. My intentions with this are firstly to learn about redstone. I'm not a very good redstoner, but if any of you are in the comments, I would love to hear your ideas, your suggestions, your thoughts, but also for you guys who are learning a new skill. Learning a new skill can be scary, but also it can be really, really insightful. So what I want to do here is go through my process. Go through what I think, how I'm going to solve this issue, how I'm going to do it step by step, and see, if you guys can apply that to your life. I like to think of it as just climbing a mountain or something like that. You've got the big goal of climbing a mountain, but you've got to break it up and you've got to break it into the smaller steps along the way. So let's go. So we want an alarm system. This system is going to be activated by a note block. Well, not activated. We're going to end connecting a note block to a random signal. So we can simply just do something like this, which will activate that note block. Or maybe not. Okay. And that would activate the note block. But we want the signal to be random. So I had a few ideas of how we could do this. Let me just make sure. Yep, so if we're getting a signal to it. Alright, you might have to see about that. Now, I have to turn my volume up, because I can't quite hear anything. I'm gonna just check. I did finally figure out how so I think it should be recording for you. Yeah. So yeah, I can't hear any of that. But I hope it's recording for you guys. I'm not going to bother with it because it's not important. The reason why I'm using a note block is because in Hermitcraft, they have custom heads that can play a custom noise. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a dispenser system. A dropper system, sorry. I want to see, and we're just going to do a bit of a test here. If I just put 5 bits of redstone dust and I step on this, will it give me one every single time? Okay, so we do get one every time. Because what the plan was is essentially this pressure plate is going to be connected to the jukebox. I'm going to have a system where a calibrated skulk sensor I don't know how these work exactly, so we're going to have to figure that out. A calibrated skulk sensor activates the dropper, drops an item on a pressure plate, which causes this to go. The reason why I wanted to use a dropper was so that way we can have some blank spaces that don't activate, so sometimes it would activate, and other times it won't. So the reason why I'm using a calibrated skulk sensor is so it can pick up a specific sound and not every sound. Other items, like a typical, just a normal sculk sensor, will pick up every noise that you play, but this one you can sort of set to just work on 2. Alright, so now we've got a basic idea. We can do this. Now, I was also debating using an observer, because an observer sort of works like coding, where you've got an if-then statement. So if a block, let me just show you with a simple bit of redstone. Let me grab one of these. I forget which side it is. But if something, let's just say, is it that side? That sculk sensor is having a day. If you guys can hear that, I'm turning that off for you. Okay, I don't know which side is the actual observing side. But essentially how it works is, if it detects something in front of it, then it will control the next part. So if I had a piston there, if I was in the way, then the piston would go. Or if in a sugarcane farm, which is it's typically used for, if a sugarcane hits a certain point, it will just drop a piston and it will clear out. So what I want to test here is, we did just do that test. Is there a chance if I step on it, it won't give me something? Because this is what I need to know. Otherwise, we're going to have to use a different block. I could try dispenser. We can try dispenser real quick. We're just going to put... The plan is... So, okay, let me do this properly. We're going to do 5 bits. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so it does come out every single time. So maybe we can have a different mechanism where we can still use that, but instead of coming out every time, there's a chance it won't fall out. So if we do it from above, let me get a normal block. So this is kind of annoying me. I don't want to use redstone. Let's use wool. Okay, we've got some wool. We've got a drop, or we can use a dispenser or a dropper. And we can have a pressure plate underneath it. That's still got everything in it. And I want to just grab a button. Stone button. Does it always hit that pressure plate? Oh, it missed. It missed again. Hit it. Okay, that could work. So that could, in fact, work pretty well. So we'll have it up 2 blocks, so the way it activates and it has a chance of hitting a pressure plate, which activates this redstone here. That would work quite well, actually. So let's make it. So okay, let me break down what I've done so far. We want to create a system that has a moderate likelihood. Oh, let me turn off that. Game rule do daylight cycle. I'm just going to turn this off so it's not annoying us when we're building our redstone. Set day. Yeah, there we go. We now have light. So what we'll be doing is we'll create a contraption that releases a item when a furnace is opened. So now I need to look at what a calibrated sculk sensor does and what setting I need to put it on. I've never played with the calibrated sculk sensors. This is my first time, so please just stick with me. As I said before, I'm open to any feedback, any way that I can make this more efficient. I also don't know how to set them up, which is also a slight issue. Okay. Usage. Okay, 15. Alright, so we need a book and a lectern. We can put those away for now. We need a book and quill. And I forget how to set this up. So, what do we want? I think we want number 10. A block activating. So, we'll put the thingy down here. Actually, let me do that again. So I need to open this book. Open up 15 pages. And we need to be on page 10 of 15. Done. Open up a lectern, grab your book, and just have a look. Ah, okay. Alright. Let's actually be in survival for this, just so to make it easier. Do I need to write something on each page? Is that the issue? There we go. Okay, we need to be on page 10. Alright, then we're going to go back to creative mode just so we can do this. So, I don't know how to do this. But what I would do is I would connect these up. Redstone. I think it's something to do with block. So if I was, for example, going to open up a furnace, let's grab a natural furnace. For this, building natural functional. Furnace. Because we want it to be a furnace. For me, walking is activating it. Let's not walk. Opening up a block. Not quite working. Alright, I'm going to figure this out quickly, and I'll come back in a second. Okay, I'm not sure. I just saw in one thumbnail that they used... Alright, let's bring this closer. And they used a comparator instead. So, this should mean... I hope this works. This will set to page 10. Alright, I want to properly look it up and I will be back. Okay, so first thing done wrong is it needs to be on that side, it seems. I'm not trying to provide a redstone tutorial here, guys. Let me emphasize that. I barely know any redstone myself. But hopefully that should be alright. And we do that to a furnace. Okay. Alright, let me actually finish the video at this time. Alrighty, I think our other issue that we made, or I made, is page 11 is our correct thing, which should... Nope. Alright, I did also realise that this purple stripe here is the input. This is where you control that. If it's not on facing that direction, then it won't work. Does this need to be facing the right direction? Is that the issue? Locks activating. Alright. Let me look at that table once more. Let's just test if this works. In a lot of these videos they use a lamp, so we're going to use the same thing. Redstone lamp. And we can set it to... Let's set it to eating, which is 8. Let's just grab some food. And maybe not that. Okay, so it does work. So what we want this to be instead is a dropper with an item in it. Hey, okay, nice, it does work. So what we'll have to do is, we can raise this up or we can just break it down. No, you know what, let's raise it up. It's not too hard to set up. Let's create just a platform. Alright, so that's the first bit done. Obviously you need to set it to 10. I don't know how and what the specifications for that setting is. Hence why I'm not really giving it too much thought. If you really need to know, I will work it out and I'll probably post a short about it. So we figured out how the calibrated sculpt sensor works, which is the first part, because this sculpt sensor is going to eventually drop our item that we need. So let's go put these all back. Furnace can go back. Alright, we're going to need our lectern. Lectern, if I can find it. Lectern and a Kali sculpt sensor. Alright, that will get us the first bit. Going out with the sculpt sensor. I need some dust. And then, you know, what we are also going to do is take the with us. So this one will be triggered. We will just leave this one the same. I'm going to drop this down. Okay, so there we go. So now when we eat food, like a pumpkin pie, let me get rid of these actually, and so we can see that it's working. I did this in wool. Maybe it can't detect signals in wool. We'll leave it. Oh, do I not have it? I don't have it set, do I? Yeah, no, it's on 1. Alright, let's test it. Nope. There we go. So, note to self, if you're doing it with an actual thing, don't use wool. Wool blocks the signal. It is triggering this one though. I don't know if you guys can, I think you guys can hear it now. So, now that we've got that system, we just need to create a system that I'm going to use I'm probably going to do this in a more annoying way than you need. So, let's get a pressure plate. Let's get a piston and a note block. A note block. There we go. So, number 1, that has to come down and hit right here, which is going to set off Does that work? Will that thing break? Is my question. Food. That's what we need. Okay, we need it to hit. There we go. And no, it doesn't break. Okay, that's good. So what we can have, okay, it's taking the grass bit, is maybe let's make that a redstone block. Because I believe, let's just eat again. There we go. Hey, so we did it in 20 minutes. Not too bad. So let me explain what we have going and what everything does. We are using a calibrated skulk sensor to determine the sound. This picks up the signal that we want based off the book we have here. This then causes a dropper to release an item, which has a chance of landing onto the what's it called? Piston. Sorry guys. There's a chance of landing on the piston. This piston activates a redstone block, which then activates the note block. Now I did have a theory, have an idea to for it to claim some items. So let's have, you know what? I'll give that one a go in another episode. You do also have to do it in this order because otherwise that piston's going to activate each time. So now, yeah, it will land on, if it lands on the pressure plate, it will push it, which activates that. And there we have it. This is my pretty simple alarm system for Hermitcraft 11 for Pearl fire alarm system. I think that was done pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that design. It does require some room, so if you don't have some room, probably not the best idea for it. Use maybe an observer instead, or another system. It also requires items, which you may not have a lot of, especially early game. In that case, I would probably replace this with a line of redstone. Have a hopper underneath. I think, can you do that? Let me make sure you guys can do that before you attempt it. Let's do a hopper. This hopper would go into a chest. Let's just test that. Okay, no, it's getting sucked up too early. So you would have to come up with a system to reclaim items if you wanted to. Probably wouldn't put too many in there because that would be quite annoying if you had it every single time you open your furnace. But it's completely up to you. Anyway guys, that's it. I'm pretty proud of myself here for coming up with that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!